been working on establishing the largest Confucius Institute in the world.
中共在1年之中就会出10几亿人民币撒到国际社会。
We received about $1 million worth of books and materials.
If you are capable to open those Confucius Institutes around the world, you have an influence. You have a way in.
孔子学院很多人都在问我，你是这个软实力的重要组成部分什么的，因为我们想扩大我们的这个影响。
They want to see an end to this.
I don't see the point of carrying on the conversation any further.
I will not continue if you want to keep talking about this.
Hey, please leave. Back it up. No, I'm sorry, we're over.
The minister's unavailable to do an interview.
To be honest, I didn't really appreciate your email yesterday suggesting that we're hiding something. We have nothing to hide.
那就是被投到监狱里面去，所以到最后就还是钱。
I hope you could guarantee no one gonna suffer like me anymore.
They plan in terms of generation. It is the Trojan horse.
It's a gift, and don't look a gift horse in the mouth.
If the Communist Party of China is attempting to infiltrate us, then we have to resist that with all our might.
We are not at war with China.
我不是任何一个发问。
This thing should be terminated and killed off forever.
Because I value freedom of speech above all. Freedom of conscience, freedom of belief. I urge you to vote to terminate this agreement tonight.
Let me just ask you now specifically about Confucius Institutes and why you've expressed concern about them and why you answered Senator Kennedy as you did. Why should we be concerned? Why should the American public, why should, for that matter, American university college presidents be concerned about Confucius Institutes on their campuses? Can you just sort of spell that out for us?
So my answer that I just gave was more broadly about the academic sector. The Confucius Institutes are a source of concern, but we view those more as part of China's soft power strategy and influence. In other words, those offer a platform to disseminate Chinese government or Chinese Communist Party propaganda, to encourage censorship, to restrict academic freedom, etc. So it is an area of concern, and we are actually encouraged, somewhat similar to the answer I was giving to Senator Kennedy, by the growing number of universities in this country over the last few years that have taken steps to restrict and curtail Confucius Institutes on their campuses. I will say we're even more concerned, though, about what I would consider more traditional efforts at either cyber intrusion or espionage, both in the research facilities themselves and in the private sector, as I've testified about a little bit here today.
Just on the Confucius Institutes again for 1 minute, what would you say to a university president who's considering partnering and allowing with the Confucius Institute and allowing an institute on her campus? I mean, what considerations do you think that university president ought to have in mind?
I would think a university president ought to do an awful lot of homework, and we'd be happy to have the local field office sit down with them to talk to them about what we know that can be shared about Confucius Institutes so that they can make a thoughtful decision themselves about whether it's something they really want to have.
To stop what they're doing. Where else in the world can you go and get an organ within 2 weeks?
I hope today no one can turn around to pretend that they don't know this is happening.
It's important that we never lose sight of the human side of this story.
I hope this judgment will awaken some consciousness from Chinese surgeons.
There's lots of important decisions that we need to make as a transplant community as to how we take this judgment forward.
The tribunal concluded with this very powerful statement about any government, any entity, any individual dealing with the Chinese Communist Party state is in effect dealing with a criminal state.
They actually single out China as a criminal state. And I think nothing will be the same after this.
Any who interact in any substantial way with the PRC, including doctors and medical institutions, industry and businesses, most specifically airlines, travel companies, financial services businesses, law firms, pharmaceutical insurance companies, together with individual tourists, educational establishments, and art establishments, should now recognize that they are, to the extent revealed in this judgment, interacting with a criminal state.
Is that something that your average American might just say, wow, that is completely screwed up?
Yeah, I mean, I urge everyone that's listening
to look at China Tribunal determined that they are live organ harvesting. They're organ harvesting at a live people in China.
공자학원은 중국어 교육과 함께 중국 문화를 홍보하는 기관입니다. 중국 공산당의 통제와 지원을 받는 공산주의 체제 선전 조직입니다. 얼마 전에 공자학원 온라인 웹사이트에 항미 원조라는 제목의 애니메이션이 게재되었습니다. 항미 원조란 중국이 6.25 전쟁을 부르는 용어인데 미국의 침략에 저항하고 한국을 돕기 위한 전쟁이라는 뜻입니다. 6.25 전쟁을 설명하는 이 영상에는 미군은 한반도 전체를 장악하려 했다. 미군은 한국과 중국, 국경 부근 중국 마을에도 폭격했다라고 되어 있습니다. 공자학원의 문제점은 국제사회에서 스파이 의혹으로까지 확대되고 있습니다. 지난 9월에 폼페이오 미 국무장관은 공자학원이 대학 내에서 스파이들과 협력자들을 모집하고 있다면서 연말까지 미국 내의 모든 공자학원이 폐쇄되기를 기대한다고 했고요. 미국뿐만 아니라 캐나다, 벨기에, 스웨덴 등에서 공자학원의 스파이 혐의가 지적되고 퇴출운동이 전개되고 있습니다. 말만 공자학원이지 공자학원의 공자는 없고 공산주의 사상 전파, 현대사 왜곡만 있다는 게 현실입니다. 그러면 우리나라는 어떤가 보십시오. 아시아에서 가장 많은 공자학원이 운영되고 있습니다. 특히 국립대 6곳을 비롯해서 중고등학교에까지 공자학당이라는 이름으로 운영이 되고 있는 현실입니다. 공자학원에서 가르친 노래 중에요. 중국 공산당의 은혜가 동해보다 깊다. 마오쩌둥을 태양에 비유하기도 했고요. 우리나라에서 마찬가지였어요. 최근에 이제 언론에서 문제가 되고 공자학원 모니터링하는 시민 모임이 생기니까 홈페이지 같은 데서 삭제했을 뿐이지 이 대학이나 중고등학교를 통해서 이런 그 공산주의 사상을 전파하는 것을 계속해서 해왔다는 얘기입니다.
24日，在韩国首尔历史会馆，以文化马克思与会者围绕魔鬼在统治着我们的世界。采访报道。